BravesFest is back for 2026. A ton of opportunities to get to meet and know the team, and a chance to honor Brian Snitker that night. Let's talk about it. Yes, welcome on into Braves Today for Wednesday, January 28th, your source for news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, award-winning baseball writer and podcaster. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can also find all of my written work, BravesToday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, because both the podcast and the newsletter are daily. We're proudly part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app or go to FanDuel.com to get started. In case you can't tell from my voice, I'm a little under the weather with all of this terrible winter weather that we've been having. A little bit of a different show today in light of that. BravesFest is back. We didn't have it last year because of renovations to the ballpark, but it's back for this weekend. I will be there. Let's talk about what's going on in Truist Park this weekend. It is free to attend for all Braves fans. You do need to go online and get a ticket. Again, free ticket, but you need to go ahead and get one so they can know how many people to expect. And then a great opportunity on Saturday night to recognize and honor Brian Snitker for his service to the organization. But BravesFest this weekend, it will be from 10 to 4 in the ballpark and the Battery, Atlanta. They're going to have a kind of a parade and rally first thing in the morning, like 9:45. And then there's a bunch of events scattered around, whether it's the ballpark, whether it's the Plaza Green, inside the Silver Spot Cinema, all that kind of stuff. They're doing some live podcast recordings behind the Braves with Chris Sale at 10:30 in Silver Spot Cinema. Braves Country Convos with Spencer Schwellenbach and his wife at 1, again, inside the cinema. A bunch of different clinics for kids on the Plaza Green. Limited capacity, obviously, but kids ages 6 to 12, Braves coaches and players will be doing stuff for them. They're doing karaoke, Braves Country Karaoke. Spencer Strider is the judge, 3 p.m. on the park bench outside the ballpark. They'll be doing the finals and the finalists performing. The thing that I'm really going to be paying a lot of attention to and probably attending myself is going to be in the Lexus level, section 213. They'll have a stage set up with a couple different panel discussions, okay? 11 a.m., the infielders will be sitting down for a 30 to 40-minute conversation about their craft and what they do and all of that. At noon, Andrew Jones will be sitting down to talk about the Hall of Fame, a discussion there. The coaching staff will be sitting down at 1 o'clock to have a discussion. The pitchers at 2, the Rookie of the Year winners at 3. I don't know if Ronald Acuna Jr. is part of that. I know Drake Baldwin and Michael Harris are, but I think Ronald's supposed to be part of that as well. And we sometimes end up getting news out of these things. We learned a couple years ago from Sean Murphy that he was struggling with the heat down the stretch in 2023. And that's why they started playing Travis d'Arnaud more. And that's why his numbers kind of fell off. We also know now that the hip injury probably also had something to do with that, right? And then, this is where we heard all of the World Series or bust stuff from Spencer Strider and everybody in 2024. The goal is the World Series and all of that. So tons of stuff at the ballpark. There is autograph sessions. I believe they might already be sold out. Just about every single player is scheduled to be there this weekend. I think the only guys, as I was scanning through, from the position player side, I didn't see Mauricio Dubon. I didn't see Jorge Mateo. So your shortstops aren't there, right? From the pitching side, I didn't see Giancarlo Lara, some of the prospects. Giancarlo Lara, Roldy Munoz. I didn't see Joel Pyamps on there. Jose Suarez wasn't listed because when they published this, he was not back in the organization yet. But almost all of the players right? We're going to see all the injured guys. We're going to see Sean Murphy. We're going to see Joe Jimenez. We're going to see AJ Smith-Shawver. It's going to be our first looks at all of those injured players that we have questions about their availability for 2026. It's going to be a really interesting day. And I love that the Braves are bringing this back. There's giveaways, there's trivia contests, all kind of really awesome opportunities. If you want to get involved early, Friday night is the gala, 8 to 11. Individual tickets, I believe, are $500 a piece. All food and beverages are included. It is a fundraiser for the Atlanta Braves Foundation. There's live music. They're going to be, I believe they're doing like custom cowboy hats, line dancing. A bunch of the players always attend. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, you can go to the gala on Friday night, or you can go to the 2026 Gameboree from Atlanta 400, the baseball fan club, kind of the booster organization for the Braves. In just a few minutes, we'll be talking to their president. It's a replay of an interview from 2 weeks ago about the event this weekend. But to me, this is kind of the final thing that comes up before the season starts, right? Like, this is the final thing. This tells you that spring training is right around the corner. Once BravesFest concludes, all of these guys, for the most part, will be heading down to Northport. The day to report is pitchers and catchers on February 10th. The first full squad workout is February 15th. But a lot of these guys will be just heading down there within the next couple of days after BravesFest. And usually a lot of our players are already down there, including our position players, are like already in Northport when the pitchers and catchers report. So this is kind of the final thing. If you want tickets to BravesFest, if you want to attend, MLB.com/Braves/fans/Braves-Fest. I would recommend subscribing to the text message updates so that if things get rescheduled, things get moved, locations, anything like that, you get a text message letting you know about that. You know, there are some things that may end up getting moved, right? The kids' home run derby, the discussion with Hassan Kim at the Battery Atlanta Sports and Social, that's really interesting to me. We're gonna get 25 or 30 minutes with Hassan Kim, who won't be available to be the shortstop for at least half the season. But just a lot of really cool things that I like what they're doing. I like that this is back. I like that other than the gala, which is a fundraiser, and other than the autograph sessions, that everything is free. I think that that's the right way to handle that. We've talked on here before about a little bit of some of the frustrations behind the record and the season ticket costs and all of that. So I like the fact that this is going to be, for the most part, that this is free, other than the autograph signing and the gala. All right, in just a second, we're going to talk to the president of Atlanta 400 Baseball Fan Club about the Eddie Glennon Gameboree on Saturday night with special guest Brian Snitker, guest of honor Brian Snitker, and how you can attend the event. We'll do that next, right here on Braves Today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Grand Slam Getaways. If you've dreamed of going on the ultimate baseball road trip, this is for you. Grand Slam Getaways offers bucket list baseball bus trips designed for fans who love the game and want to travel in style. All these trips are starting in Atlanta and departing. They're either going in May to Florida, in June to the Midwest, or in July to the Northeast. They all match up with Braves road games. There's field level tickets, 3-star hotels, daily breakfast, and a full slate of ballparks and other activities. Each of these trips will have at least 2 Braves road games. There's appearances by former MLB players. There's giveaways, side trips, right? Whether it's just like a beach day in Florida, the Louisville Slugger Museum, the filming locations for the movie Bull Durham, all that kind of stuff. If you're retired, if you're just a baseball nut, if you're like a parent and a kid wanting to have a fun summer adventure, this is a stress-free way to hit the road with your fellow fans. You can reserve your spot now with a small deposit. Head to grandslam-getaways.com and make this summer a grand slam. Check it out now, grandslam-getaways.com, and let the baseball adventure begin. We are just weeks away from spring training, a couple months away from opening day, and with Walt Weiss as the new manager of the Braves, exciting transition, but we're not done with Brian Snitker just yet. Coming up Saturday, January 31st, he's going to be honored at a dinner to recognize and celebrate his history and what he's meant to this organization. And the organization throwing the dinner, the Atlanta 400 Baseball Club. I am joined by Drew Meyer, the president of the organization. And Drew, I know that every year, obviously, you guys are, you have this dinner, the Eddie Glennon Jamboree. This is the 60th year of it, so obviously it's a big round number. But there was nobody else you guys could have invited to honor as guest of honor but Brian Snitker was there.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And Lindsay, thanks for having me on today. I'm super excited to talk about this. And you're right. Every year as we go into the planning for the Gameboree, the guest of honor, it's a big debate. And I'll tell you, we had our first board meeting and it was just assumed. We were like, well, it's going to be for Snit this year. It makes sense. And I mean, the man's been with the organization for 49 years. That is, he bleeds Atlanta Braves. So we're super excited.
And like he bleeds Atlanta Braves, but I don't think people quite realize how important and how long this organization has been around and has been working in and around the Atlanta Braves. The Braves, it was originally the Braves 400 fan club, but this group has been around longer than the Atlanta Braves have been in Atlanta. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's funny because I have lived in Atlanta since I was 7 years old, right? So I'm a TBS 90s Braves fan watching all the time. And I had not heard of this organization even 5 years ago. So it's a real kind of flying under the radar type of organization. But to your point, they were really sort of the original group of businessmen that came together to help facilitate, right, all of the things within Atlanta that we needed to be able to, help and put in place as a city in order to support a Major League Baseball franchise. And so, yeah, we were the original sort of booster club that was facilitating that move from Milwaukee. And we have continued to have a really close relationship with the Braves ever since then.
Yeah, and I was reading some of the history of the organization and looking at all of the photos from the dinners with everybody from Phil Niekro being honored and seeing Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz at a dinner and all of this stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, the Gameboree, January 31st, going to be honoring Brian Snitker. Is this event, like, I know that obviously the membership is going to be super into the event, but if like the listeners of Braves Today, if they want to come to the event, like what's in store, what's going to happen at the event, and how can they get involved with the organization and this event, this dinner specifically?
Yeah, so we are totally open to non-members as well. So we'll have to plug the website here at some point too. But yeah, any Braves fan that wants to come, we have tickets still available for non-members. And again, the whole night is going to be about honoring Snit. And we cap our attendance at a pretty, a relatively a lower number, specifically because, we intend for this event to be a really, intimate environment. And you mentioned, a lot of Braves royalty, names that people will recognize that we have honored and have had events for over the years. In fact, one year, we gave one of our prestigious Mr. Baseball Awards, which is meant for someone in the community that really champions baseball. One year that recipient was Jimmy Carter. So we had Jimmy Carter at the event and Secret Service and, all of that stuff. So but again, we'll have a pretty intimate environment. There's going to be a lot of other Braves royalty there wanting to support SNIT. And so it's a fantastic opportunity for fans to, be there, hear all the stories that we're going to tell. There's going to be, we're doing a panel with various members. Kelly Kroll, former Braves announcer for TV, is going to be moderating that panel. And some of the guys, Brian McCann's going to be on that panel, and a few others, and they're going to tell, I'm sure, just amazing stories that kind of, span SNIT's entire career. And then in addition to, honoring SNIT, we give out the Braves minor league awards, and a few other pretty notable things that, for, like I said, for a true fan, it's really fun. We honored Ronald Acuna when he was still in the minors as a player of the year, right? Who participated in an event before his name blew up to what he is today. So it's also a great opportunity to see some of the, future big leaguers as well.
Yeah. And even possibly players who aren't even professionals yet, but could make their way to Atlanta in the future. I know, just kind of reading the program for the night, the Jason Varitek College Scholar Athlete of the Year, Drew Burris of Georgia Tech. He's draft eligible this year. Atlanta picks picks right there in the top 10. Maybe Drew Burris ends up being in Atlanta. Like you said, minor league awards, things like that. And then there's also, a silent auction, a raffle, and things like that. If Braves fans want to attend, I know Atlanta400.org is the website to go out and get tickets. But I also this is about the Atlanta Braves and Brian Snitker, but it's also about the community as a whole. And I noticed that you guys have just recently started a foundation to try to expand that mission. Can you tell us a little bit more about the foundation and what you guys are wanting to do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, I mean, our name says it. We're a bunch of Braves fans, and we've already talked about the history and how long we've been involved with the Braves. But, the mission of the organization, beyond just supporting the Braves, it's also supporting baseball, in Braves country. And so, right, that stretches beyond just, our professional team. And so we have, we are super excited to formally announce our foundation, which is a, 501c3 organization. So donations to the foundation are tax deductible. And, we're doing a lot of things in the community that, aren't just at that professional level, right? We give out scholarships every year, and we're going to give out a couple scholarships at the event, on January 31st. And, those scholarships we're typically targeting, colleges, JUCO programs, Div 3 programs, some of those schools that they don't have all the money that maybe some of those big Div 1 programs have.
Yeah.
So, that's something. And that scholarship, those scholarships bear Phil Necro's name. He was, while he was alive, he was super involved with the club. And that was something that him and his wife were always very excited to be a part of every year as we gave out those scholarships. There's another program, and personally, this is probably my favorite thing that we do. But every year in May, we also honor the Metro Atlanta High School All-Stars. And so, nice. We have a lot of involvement with the different high school programs, and we select anywhere from a dozen to maybe 20 kids that represent the top talent at the high school level, and honor them and choose a player of the year. In fact, our 2025 player of the year will also be honored at the Gameboree on the 31st. But we've had some big names that have come through our high school all-star program. Brian McCann was a high school all-star. Jeff Francoeur. We missed Michael Harris somehow. I don't know where we dropped the ball on that one. But CJ Abrams, there's been some really big names, and that's another thing, people get involved with the club. And the cool part is if they register and come to the event, it includes a membership for a year. And that high school all-star event in May, we do it right before Braves game, honor the kids on the field. And that's another thing. Like I said, we give back and give scholar donations to high school programs through that same event. It's a really awesome program to be giving back at that level, right? These are kids that, may have a huge future in baseball, but also, that might be it. They'll play a little bit in college, and then, they've got to figure out life from there.
Yeah. It's it's very clear that the organization feels kind of like a lot I do, and a lot of us who listen and watch Braves today, that baseball is absolutely the best, and we have to do everything we can to support it. And in just a second, when we come back, I want to talk about one really exciting opportunity that's still out there for fans to help the non-profit, to help the new charity, and get to work pretty closely with SNIT for an evening when it comes to funding those scholarships. We'll do that next, right here on Braves Today. Welcome back to Braves Today. Lindsay Crosby, joined by Drew Meyer, the president of Atlanta 400 Baseball Fan Club. And we're talking about the 60th annual Eddie Glennon Gameboree on Saturday, January 31st. Before we go too far, though, I don't think a lot of Braves fans, especially maybe of our generation, know a ton about Eddie Glennon and just how instrumental he's been, that he was to the sport of baseball in general, but specifically the Southeast and Atlanta. Why is the Gameboree named after Eddie, and what should we know about him and his legacy?
Yeah, Eddie is it's the namesake of this event, and he had just always had a huge passion for being involved and basically being bigger than just baseball itself, right? I sometimes and maybe people know, like Roberto Clemente, right? Major League Baseball gives out that award, right? And it's a similar thing. The Gameboree is something that we're honoring, yes, some big names in baseball, and we definitely want to throw back to some of the old names that have brought us to where we are today, and that kind of really encompasses the legacy that we're trying to create there. We have a number of other specific awards that we talk about that kind of reminisce to the nostalgia of baseball. We know the really big names out there, but right. Baseball is more than that, right? It is more than, the experience of going to the game is fantastic, but we love baseball. It's an American pastime, and I actually lived overseas for a number of years, and I don't know why, but that time made me love baseball even more, because I forget how entwined it is into our culture. So that's what this event is absolutely about.
Yeah, I mean, it's America's pastime for a reason. And again, the event, the Gameboree, Saturday, January 31st. It's actually at the Atlanta Marriott Northwest in Galleria near Truist Park. So if you're already in the Battery for BravesFest, it's an easy move over there. But don't just show up. Atlanta400.org are where you can get the tickets. And like I kind of teased before the break, part of the whole thing with the 501c3 is you guys you're funding these scholarships, you're doing all these great works in the community, but that requires money. And yes, the proceeds from this to get you a yearly membership to the organization, but there's another really exciting opportunity, specifically the night of the January 31st, to both contribute to the organization and get some up close and personal time with Brian Snitker, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we're really excited about this. And to tell you also, Brian and Ronnie are also super excited about this. They know what we're trying to do at this event on a larger scale, right? What we want to do as a foundation. And they have been so gracious to offer 2 seats at their table for the event, because this event, all the things we're talking about, there's a sit down dinner, so there is the table that you're at. I don't know, maybe like going to a wedding, you end up really close with the people that you're sitting at that table. Yeah. And like I said, Brian and Ronnie have been super gracious, and they're offering 2 of the seats at their table for the entire evening to spend with them, have dinner with them, talk a little bit of baseball. And we're offering those seats at $1,000 each. And like I said, you're going to get that time with SNIT for the entire evening. But also the money that we, bring in from the purchase of those tickets, we are going to specifically create a scholarship that we're going to give away. And whoever that person is that, chooses to come in and donate and do that for us, their name will be included in that donation that will go along with the Atlanta 400 Foundation. So, we got any, really, huge fans that would love to have, it's going to be a good at least hour and a half at the table with Snit. This is a fantastic opportunity. If I wasn't going to have to be sitting up, on the lectern myself, that's where I would want to be.
Yeah, I mean, and so the event begins at 5:00, and there's a reception, a silent auction, there's a raffle of Braves memorabilia, and some of the stuff you guys have listed on the website. Very, very hard to find things, very rare things, very exclusive things, as well as all of the names, all of the people who were coming, like you said, the Braves legends, whether it's Brian McCann, things like that. I saw a note, Paul Bird's the master of ceremonies, just a lot of dignitaries in and around the Braves, former players. It's a fantastic opportunity to celebrate Brian Snitker and our Atlanta Braves, but also, to your point, like there's going to be tons of fun stories and just things that you didn't know, and just a night of entertainment, and it's all for a good cause. I honestly can't think of a better way to spend a couple hours than helping a charity and getting to talk Braves baseball with Brian Snitker. It's a great opportunity. If folks want more information about the organization, the dinner, or just how to get seats at the table with Brian Snitker, where can they go to get more information and to go ahead and make these purchases?
Yeah, head over to our website, www.atl400.org. And right on the main page, you'll see it up there in the top banner. It's the 2026 Gameboree. And we've got, we're constantly updating it as we've had more and more, people confirm that are going to be there. Tim Hudson actually just confirmed today. So that's another name to throw out there. But yeah, they can go there, get all the information they need, maybe snag some of the remaining tickets that we have left. We still have some spots, and, would love for some new people to learn about the club, experience it. And like I said, like you said already, Lindsay, not only is the event itself going to be really cool, but you're going to be hanging out with a lot of people who love baseball just as much as you. And that's the fun part, is everyone there, they're just huge fans of not just the Braves, but baseball itself. So the stories that you'll hear, as you're browsing through the silent auction, and some of the connections you'll make, a lot of these people are season ticket holders. So you might even bump into them, at the ballpark. It's just a really awesome night for anyone who really loves baseball.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's going to be a ton of fun. Listeners of BravesToday, readers of BravesToday, the newsletter, you're going to hear all about this after the event. I'm going to write up all of my observations and my notes and my photos and my videos, and you're going to really be dealing with FOMO. Like you're going to feel like you missed out. So definitely atl400.org. Drew, thank you for your time. I'm incredibly excited. I'll be there at the dinner. I have a seat, not with Snit, but I have a seat. So I'll be there. Excited.
It's available if you want it. It's available if you want it there, Lindsay.
Listen, if we can get a few more premium subscribers to the newsletter, maybe we can make this happen.
There we go.
But yeah, there we go. But again, atl400.org is where you go to get tickets. And honestly, Braves Country, I can't wait to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you so